He is a professor in Department of Textile Technology, NIT Jalandhar. He did his MTech and PhD from IIT Delhi. His academic and research experience span over 25 years after having 1 year industrial experience. His specialization and field of work are swing dynamics, non-woven and technical textiles, textile project management. He has also under him, 2 of the PhD scholars has already been awarded the PhD degree. 3 of the PhD students have submitted their thesis, and the 7 PhD scholars are pursuing their research work. He has guided more than 15 MTech students and is presently supervising 2 MTech students. He has contributed 60 research papers in international and national referred journals and 35 research papers in international conference of repute. He has written 7 book chapters in Woodhead publication and CRC publication, and also filed 2 patents. So now I request Professor Vinay Kumar Midda to share his knowledge on the topic, understanding the textile product design. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Smriti. Okay, can you see the slides now?
Yes, sir, I can see your screen. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I have decided to go with the topic that understanding the textile product design. We have been discussing about the textile design since yesterday, and after going through all the topics which are being covered, I decided that we should first talk about the textile design, what exactly the design is, and who are the people actually working in the design area. We can see that there are textile engineering institutions who are working dealing with the yarn and fabric manufacturing, and then we have some university and colleges where the textile design courses are also undertaken, and they are also dealing with certain type of designs which are preferably after the fabric formation. So with the help of the dyes and the colors printing, they create various type of designs. And so I decided that let us have a look on what are the different options where the designs can be created. What kind of designs can be considered as the textile designs. So to start with, I will say that it is the engineering. The engineering word as such originates from the words such as engine and ingenious. And these 2 words were derived from the same Latin root, that is ingenerare, which actually means to create. So basically we can say that the engineers are basically the creators, or engineering implies to the creation and the creativity. But it is not actually only the engineering, that is the creation is being carried out by the engineers only. There are other people also who are involved in the artistic creations. And in case of the engineers, we can say that they are scientifically creating the things for the benefit of the society. They are employing the scientific tools and the scientific knowledge for the creation of certain products and designs so that the product can be made for the benefit of the society. On the other hand, we have the artistic designs which are created for the purpose of aesthetics and fashion. And engineering as such, we can say it was considered to be an art long time ago, but later on slowly it developed into a scientific discipline. And the scientific discipline, we can see that there are various disciplines in the engineering field which are considered as the core engineering areas. For example, it actually started with the civil engineering first, and then the other areas of engineering came into picture. But as far as the textile engineering is concerned, it is not a part of the core engineering areas, but we can consider it as an interdisciplinary field. And in this interdisciplinary field, the scientific principles, mathematic tools, and techniques of engineering, physics, chemistry, and other physical sciences are utilized in a variety of creative textile applications, which include the development of pure fibrous structures or the innovations of the fibrous elements that can be combined with other non-fibrous materials also, and the design of fiber to fabric system that aims to optimize the machine fiber interaction and produce the value-added fibrous products. So this is the broad definition of, we can say, as the textile engineering, where the engineering is the interdisciplinary field where the knowledge of different areas is combined together to make the fibrous structures, converting them into the yarns and then converting them into the fabrics for the useful products. Now, the engineering institutions are actually dealing with the development of these particular products, where the changes can be made at the fiber level or the yarn level or in the fabric structures to make the to incorporate certain specific parameters into the fabric and the textile product. Whereas as far as the textile science, which I was talking about in the university and institutions in the colleges, where the home science or other textile science or courses are being run, in those cases, they mostly deal with the coloration and finishing of the textile materials. Once the fabric has been produced, even in certain cases, the technical textile area is also being explored in these university and institutions. And they're also trying to add certain features, specific features into the fabrics, which is the demand for today's markets. So we can say that the textile products are wide and they can be divided into, we can say that the traditional textile products and the functional textile products. A wide variety of products are being produced by the people working in the field of textile as such as an industry. So the traditional textile industry, we can say, it offers the products that are essential for the existence of human beings, which we normally call as the clothes or apparels. And the market for these particular products will continue to grow as the population growth of the country or a particular country or a world is increasing. So the demand of these particular products will continue growing, and these traditional textile industry will always serve as a major supplier of these particular fibrous structures, even to those particular industries which are making the specialized technical or functional textile materials. Then coming to the functional textiles or the technical textiles, the other word which is used for this, this particular industry provides the traditional industry with many innovative concepts that can now change the shape of the traditional fibrous products and improve their marketing image through the value-added features. I'm not talking about the completely technical products. For example, technical textiles, there are 12 different segments of technical textiles. You have geotextile, automotive textiles, industrial textiles. They're on one particular side. When we talk about the apparels also, the demand of the specific features into those particular apparels is also increasing now. So people want that the fabric or the garment which they are using, that should have the antibacterial properties, or they should have odorless features. They should be UV resistant, and in certain cases the flame retardant and the stain proof or soil resistant fabrics are also required. So this is where the functional area of the textile can help the traditional textile industry to develop these particular value-added products. And on the other hand, if we talk about the technical products, which are more concerned about the functional features, characteristics which are added, and we are not actually focusing on the aesthetics and the fashion. So these particular technical or functional textile materials basically lack these particular attractiveness, fashion, and aesthetic features. And this is where the traditional textile industry can provide great assistance to these particular traditional functional textiles, so that the fashion and aesthetic can also be added, and these particular products can be made attractive for the market. So the traditional and the technical or the functional textile, both of them will coexist in the industry, and they are now in certain area have been combined together, or they have to work together for the development of the new designs and the products for the textile industry. So if we talk about the traditional textile products, which I discussed, that the demand for these particular products is now towards certain functionality which is to be added into these particular products. For example, if we take about these traditional fibrous products, performance characteristics, then in that case we normally talk about the aesthetics, or we need comfort in them. They provide safety for the human being, and dimensional stability should be there. They should be providing good amount of fit for the body. They should be fashionable. These are some of the characteristics which are basically required in the traditional apparels. Now, the functional performance which is now coming into picture is, for example, the stain and water repellents, the insect repellents, the soil or stain resistance, UV resistance, the odor-free features should be added. They should be antibacterial, for example, in case of socks. They should have anti-static features. In certain cases, they should be flame resistance, particularly for the kids. So in all these particular cases, we can say that the demand for these particular functional features is increasing in the traditional textile products. And as far as the product we are talking about, we can say that anything that can be offered to the consumers to satisfy a particular need or want, that is considered as a product. Now, it may be a physical product or it may be a service also in general terms. And with time now, what is happening is that I can talk about the need and want, which I have written in the definition. Need is the basic satisfaction level which is given when we feel a deprivation, one particular something is lacking in our life. To satisfy that particular lacking, some product is required. That can be considered as a need. Now, want is some specific satisfier. Like I want to satisfy this particular need, but this specific product is required for satisfying it. That is now the want. For example, some specific features should be there, which normally we want in our apparels. Now, wrinkle-free treatment should be there. They should not be wrinkling. Grease resistance property should be there, so that there is no need to iron. Okay, so these particular specific features are there, which are now becoming important for the apparels. So these things which now presently we consider are the wants to, which are being considered by the consumers as wants to be the specific satisfiers, they will become the needs with time. Because all these particular things which we talk about today, that fit or, for example, comfort in the garments, these also have become the necessity in those particular garments, which were considered as the specific needs for some brands only earlier. So with time, what is happening is that all these particular wants of the specific satisfaction requirements of the customers will become converted, will get converted into the needs. They will become necessity. So what I mean to say that these particular features will have to be incorporated into the basic products in future. Today, there are some specific functions which few people may be liking. Specific brands will be giving these particular features. But in the coming days, it will happen that all these particular things may become necessary to be incorporated into the apparels. Now, when we talk about the products, traditional or they are the functional products, we can categorize them into three parts. One is, for example, here the conventional performance giving products. Second is the specific performance, and third one is the specialty performance. Now, conventional performance products, we can talk about these particular clothes or apparels which we are talking about. So if we see the design complexity which is required in these particular cases, this is very low. This is minimum design complexity in case of the conventional products which are being produced. And when we talk about some specific features to be added into these particular products, then the design complexity increases to a certain extent. And for the specialty performance products, the design complexity is at the highest level. This will increase significantly. So from the conventional products, as we are moving towards the specialty products, the design complexity is significantly increasing. Similarly, the value addition will also increase. The value for this particular product conventional product is lying at this particular level. And for the specialty product, the value per unit will be this much. It will increase significantly. And on the other hand, if we see the degree of the potential duplication of these particular products, that will be decreasing now. The duplication is very high in case of the conventional products. When we talk about the simple clothes, plain woven fabrics or knitted fabrics, single jersey fabrics, in all these cases, a lot of companies are there which are manufacturing these products, and anybody can use that particular weaves and the knitting machines for creating these particular products. So the degree of duplicacy in these particular type of products is high. And when we go to the specialty products, in these cases, the degree of duplication chances are very low, because in most of the cases, these are the innovations which have been done by the companies, which are also difficult to be copied. And at the same time, they may also be protected by the IPR by these particular companies. But otherwise also it is very difficult to add those particular features. For example, if I say bulletproof vest is to be made, so that bulletproof vest can be made only by few companies. Everybody sitting in Ludhiana or maybe in the industrial area or in the southern part of the country cannot make these particular products. But as far as the woven fabrics or the knitted fabrics, anybody can duplicate and make them. So this degree of potential duplication will decrease as we move from the conventional performance products to the specialty products. And similarly, the volume will also go down. The volume for these particular conventional products is significantly large, which decreases to the specific performance products, and finally to the specialty performance product also it is lower. And now if we see the profits which are available to the developers and the retailers in these particular cases, in the conventional case, you can see that this particular profit is huge for the retailers, whereas the developer who is actually making these particular products does not get anything. This is the what is happening in our industry at present. The handloom weavers or the other industrial laborers, you can see they are working on these particular machines, but they are not getting any returns. All these particular returns basically go to these particular retailers. But as we move from conventional performance products to the specialty products, the developer's profit is increasing significantly. And this is even, you can say, slightly more than the retailer's profit. The person who has actually developed this particular product, his share and this particular value is higher as compared to the retailer, almost equal, but for the developer it is slightly more than the retailer. But in case of the conventional products, it is very difference is very large. The retailer is getting huge amount, but the developers are getting slight small amount. So this is where the need to work is, that we need to add certain specific features into the products. Rather than making only those particular conventional products, certain features which may be for the specific performance of the products need to be added so that the value addition can be done and more profits can be given to the developers. And for these particular three categories, now we can say up to this, the specific performance, because now it is becoming to certain extent essential in certain brands, which is becoming the need for those particular basic products. That is why they have been combined together to take them up to the traditional fibrous products. And from here, we can say that the functional performance products will start. So there is a certain overlap between the traditional and the functional products at this particular point of time. So this is now the fiber to fabric material flow, and in all these particular cases, we can see that from the fibers we convert them into the yarns, get the gray fabrics. Then you have woven or knitted fabrics, or from the yarns you can go to the braiding. Also, the braided structures can be made directly from fibers. We can go to the non-wovens also, and then finally the finishing, coating, lamination, or the other features which are required, they can be added. Now the design which we can add into the textile, that can be now added. It is not only that after the fabric has been formed or while weaving the design is to be created. The design of the product actually has to start right from the beginning, from the fibers itself. The selection of the fibers has to be done properly for a particular application. For example, when I think that I have to produce a bulletproof vest, or maybe let us say waterproof fabric, so I have to select those particular fibers accordingly. I'll take those particular examples also further. And the design has to be carried out at every stage. It is not only after the fabric formation. The design has to be incorporated at every particular stage, that what should be the structure of the yarns which will be used, what type of yarn. There are different types of yarns now available, different type of fibers are available. Now which fiber I have to choose, which particular structure of the yarn should be selected for a particular product. And similarly, when the fabric manufacturing, we reach to the fabric manufacturing stage, so which particular technique of fabric manufacturing is to be used. And finally, the finishing. So the designing is everywhere in textile. And if we talk about the textile product design process, then this is the complete process of textile product design. Starting with the understandings of on the basic engineering concepts, we should have certain knowledge of the basic engineering concepts. Then the product development concepts are there, certain how the product development actually is to be carried out, what are the various stages and the process involved in that product development. Then comes the design concepts. Now, how the designing of those particular products will be carried out, which will have the design conceptualization and the design analysis, which I'll be touching in the next few slides. So once the design conceptualization is carried out, that means generating some idea. The design concept is what is the idea to solve that particular problem, how that particular problem is to be found out. And for that, we may have large number of ideas to satisfy that particular problem. So we have the brainstorming to be carried out, creativity is to be applied, and then the decision is to be taken. And then we have to optimize that particular solution, that what is the best, or we can say not exactly the optimum solution, the best compromised solution, which is to be selected for this particular problem, which is at our hand. And once that particular analysis has been carried out, design concept has been generated, design analysis has been carried out, then we finally go to the modeling of those particular products. We prepare some prototype of the product first, which will be taken further for the mass production. And when all these particular things are design, conceptualization and analysis is being carried out, at that time we have to keep these particular things also in mind, that what will be the material selection, what type of materials will be actually selected, what is the fiber to be selected, then what are the fibrous components. For example, in our textile case, these components include your fibers, yarns, then gray fabrics, finished fabrics. So from these, the traditional fibrous products or function-focused fibrous products can be manufactured. Now, what type of problem we are actually taking and what are the optimum solutions for that particular problem, they are to be actually taken here in the designing process. And finally, we will reach a particular type of product, which may be a traditional or a functional product for taking it further to the market. Now, this engineering concepts are very important for the understanding and for generating these particular creations of these particular products. First is that the knowledge gain and problem solving, which requires the good amount of knowledge of the mathematical and natural sciences. And at the same time, now how much more knowledge is actually required, what type of concepts are actually required, that will depend upon the nature of the problem in hand and what are the specific tools which are required for solving this particular problem. And problem solving is a design issue. The solution to the problem should provide the optimum outcomes. As I told, that we can take, sometimes we talk about the optimum, but in this case, we normally say that the best compromise solution is to be taken because there are certain limitations which are also to be considered. So with respect to all the associated factors, the best possible solution in that particular situation is to be reached. Then next is the design, which is the foundation of engineering. As we discussed, that the engineers are the creators. So the design is the foundation of this particular engineering, and they imply the creation. It implies the creation of the things that have never existed in earlier, or you can sometimes go for the rearrangement of the things that have always existed, that are already available in the market. The products are already in the market. You can make certain rearrangements of those particular features, add certain extra features, and create a new product. I'll discuss that also in the subsequent slides. But otherwise, in general, we say that product development actually means that creating that particular product which never existed earlier. Okay, but it is not like that. You can always add certain features and bring a new product by modifying the features which are already present in the products. The next engineering concept is the invention, innovation, dissemination, and patenting. Invention basically is to conceive a new concept or idea. When we conceive an idea in our mind that I'll be able to solve this particular problem or satisfy this particular need of the customers with this particular product, that is the idea which is there in the brain. That is the new concept has been created. When we conceive this particular new idea, that is the invention. And when we are able to convert that particular idea into a prototype, into a real product, that is the innovation. Sometimes it happens that we have the inventions in our mind, we have those ideas in our mind, but they are not able to, they are not realizable, or we are not able to realize them. Okay, so they will remain only at the invention stage, they will not go to the innovations. So it is very important that whatever idea, that is what I discussed, that there are certain limitations. I have to find out the best, not the optimum solution, the best compromising solution. Okay, so keeping all these particular limitations in mind, I may try to produce a particular product which will have very high, very good features. Okay, but it is not possible to produce that particular product. There are limitations on the technology also. So according to that, the best compromising solution is to be selected. And that is what, when we realize it into a prototype, into a real product, that is the innovation. Then once the innovation is done, then there's the dissemination. The dissemination means that this innovation should be converted into a real product. First, we prepare the prototype, and then we go to the mass production. And dissemination implies to the massive, efficient, and cost-effective use of that particular innovation. Okay, so once the prototype has been prepared, then the mass production, it should be able to give you mass production. The innovation has been carried out, but if it is not possible to bring it into the market for the mass production at a cost-effective rate, then again it is of no use. Okay, so the basic purpose of creating the new product is the innovation should be able to produce it at a large scale at a cost-effective rate. Then finally, the resources. We have to select the best possible materials and the energy sources for creating these particular products. So selecting the type of material suitable for the product, system, or the process, determining the material properties, what are the properties in those particular materials, and what is exactly required to create those particular features. So manipulating these particular properties to meet the optimum requirements for the intended design. So these are some engineering concepts which should be there when we go to the textile product design process. And as far as the product we talk about, so there are five levels of these particular products for which the products can be created. When we consider as a company, when we market these particular products, we need to think these particular 5 levels of the product. And each particular product level will add some customer value. And these are, first of all, we will have the core benefit of the product. What is the core benefit of that particular product? That first of all, we need to find out. That is the fundamental service or the benefit that customer is actually buying. For example, if we talk about the apparels, clothes, the fundamental benefit of the apparels is to cover the body. Okay. Then next is the generic product. Generic product means now it will have certain basic features will be incorporated in that. So these basic features will lead to, for example, color, aesthetics, comfort, feel. So these are some of the things which we actually incorporate. We give garments, when we convert garments, we say that they should be proper fit. They should suit the fashion. They should be stable dimensionally when washing is carried out. They should be durable to a certain extent. So these are some of the features which are added into a product to make it a generic product. Now from the generic product, the next one is that we say it is the expected product. Now, expected product means a set of attributes and conditions that buyers normally expect. Okay, so this is, as I discussed, that people now want that I should not get wrinkles on my garment. So wrinkle-free treatment is there. That is what people are expecting. It is not a part of the generic product, but some people expect it to be incorporated. Some people expect that it should have antibacterial finishes. So that is what the expectations of the customers are. And accordingly, some of the companies will be making these particular products and they will be keeping the product at this particular level. So as a company, as a manufacturer or designer, I need to understand that which particular type of product I am, at which particular level I am making it. Whether I am providing the core benefit or I'm going for the generic product or I'm going for the to fulfill the expectations of the products, or I'm going further level to the augmented one. Now augmented means that it will increase, it will have more features which will exceed the expectations of the customers. Customers are not demanding these, they are not expecting, or maybe they are not aware of that these particular things are also possible in our products. So you add those type of features. For example, stain proof you add. Soil resistance property you add. So these particular things will make it an augmented product. And the last one is the potential product. Potential product means that all those particular augmentations which are possible, all those particular expectations which are possible, when all these are added, then this is what we can say is the potential product, which may be available in future. Then the basic steps in the product development. The first one was the engineering concepts, and then we have to understand the product development process. And in that, first of all, we'll have the generation of ideas. Large number of ideas may be generated to solve that particular problem in hand, to satisfy that particular need or requirement of the customers. And then we will list down the performance characteristics. What will be the performance characteristics in that particular product and its related attributes and requirements. Determine and define the product performance characteristics and related attributes and the other requirements which should be there in that particular product. And then based on that, we will try to collect some certain information about the already existing products and the features which should be incorporated in the product, which have been already done by the companies or the patents or the literature, whatever is available, that should be searched. And then after that, we should go to the next step, finding out whether this particular product which we are trying to introduce or create, that is already existing in the market, or somebody is producing it, or you have certain added features which can be taken further. If you feel that it is possible now that we will be able to meet the market requirements, and these type of products or features have not been incorporated earlier in the products, then the answer to this particular justification may be yes. So that we should now proceed further for the designing, conceptualization and analysis. Otherwise, if it is not satisfied at this particular point, there is no answer to this particular question, justification is no, then we can terminate this particular process here. Otherwise, we'll go to the design analysis process, and which will be carried out at the macro level and at the micro level, keeping into consideration all the factors and the all possible solutions, so that the best possible solution can be selected. Then after this, once the design analysis has been carried out, then we move to the prototype making of this particular product. A product model is made, which may be tested, and then it can be taken to the manufacturing stage for larger productions. And once the larger production is carried out, the product units are available, quality control is also carried out, then we go to the marketing process. So this is how the designing and development of the products will actually take place. Then when we start with this particular process, we have large number of ideas. For example, we started here with the generation of ideas, and we can have large number of ideas. And it is not possible to take all these particular ideas further. So we have to screen these particular ideas, which can be sorted out into 3 groups. First category can be the promising ideas. So those particular ideas which are further researched by a committee member, or they survive the promising ideas. Surviving promising ideas will be taken further for the full-scale screening process. And otherwise, if you feel that these particular ideas are not promising, they are not, after going through all these particular survey and the literatures, then you can drop these particular ideas. And there can be certain ideas which can be termed as completely, directly straight away reject ideas. Okay, they will be taken into 3rd category, and there can be certain ideas which will be on the marginal ideas, which may go to the promising stage, or they may go into the reject group also. And while carrying out this particular, it is not that it will be complete. It will be a completely successful categorization of these particular ideas. There are possibilities of error also. And there are 2 types of errors. We can say that there can be drop error, when the company dismisses an otherwise good idea. An idea which may have been taken into the promising stage has been taken either into the marginal or into the reject stage. So that is the good idea has been rejected. And the second type of error will be the go error, when a company permits a poor idea to move into the development and commercialization stage. So that idea which should have been gone into the reject group has been taken into the marginal or into the promising idea, so that it is now taken further for analysis and commercialization. So this is where the work has to be carried out, so that these type of errors can be avoided as far as possible. And if this particular error, any type of these particular errors occur, then they can cost huge for the company which is designing and developing these particular products. Because the designing and design analysis and commercialization will involve a lot of expenditure. And in that case, if it is a go error, then you have wasted money into that. And if you have dropped some promising ideas already, then you may not be able to get the profits which may have been obtained when you selected that particular idea. So when we talk about the failures of the product ideas or the product designs, then there can be these three types of the failures which normally companies consider. First is that an absolute product failure. Now, absolute product failure means that it will lose your money. You will go to commercialization stage, but you will lose money and its sales will not be able to cover the variable expenses, not to talk about the fixed expenses. Even the variable expenses which are used for making these particular products, even they are not also being covered. So you lose money in this particular business. Second is the partial product failures. Now, partial product failures will be, they will be losing money, but its sales will cover the variable expenses and to some extent the fixed expenses also. Okay, so they are considered as partial failures because some of the fixed costs are being covered, some of the fixed costs are not being covered, but it is covering your variable expenses. Third is the relative product failure. Now, relative product failure means that it yields a profit that is less than the company's target rate of return. Your expectations were high, and this particular product is not able to reach those particular expectations in terms of the profits. So you say that this is a relative product failure. And then after categorizing them into these particular categories, the further screening of the ideas may be carried out, which may be in terms of the requirements which you can place for the product success and give certain weightage to these particular requirements, and the scores can be given which can be multiplied together to get the rating index. So in this case, for example, we are taking the unique or superior product, or high performance to cost ratio, high marketing support, and lack of strong competition. These are the four product success requirements which have been taken into consideration, and the weightage has been assigned to them. And then for each particular idea which you are actually screening, you give certain rating score to these particular features. And then you multiply the column 1 and column 2 to get the product rating score, which will be at the end of the total, will give you the rating index. And that particular idea which will give you high rating index, that will be taken further, and ranking can be given to all these particular ideas, and based on that they can be taken further for next stages of conceptualization and analysis. Then the type of products which we discussed earlier, that it can be completely new to the world or certain features can be added. So based on that, we can have these type of new products. First category is the new to the world products. Now these are the new innovative products that create entirely new markets. They are not existing earlier. So when they are introduced in the market, they will create new markets for them. And second can be new product lines. Now these are new products that allow a company to enter an established market for the first time. Already the market is there for these particular products, and they will allow a company to enter into this particular market. So you are not making these particular products earlier, but already these products are there in the market. They are being made by other companies. Then you can make certain additions to your existing product lines. New products that supplement a company's established product line. Already you are making certain products. Now you can extend those particular lines by adding certain other features or flavors into those particular products, adding certain different size of those particular products. Then is the improvements and revision of these existing products. Now new products that provide improved performance or greater value and replace the existing products. So with this, now you are improving the performance of these particular products, adding certain features and attributes into these particular products which are not already there. So you introduce these particular features and create them as a new product which will be replacing the old one. Or the last one is that you can go for repositionings. Now, repositionings means that existing products are targeted to new markets or segments. So the product is same, but it is sold to one particular market, and now you enter into some other market. Smriti, I think everything is fine.
Yes, sir, everything is fine. Someone mic was on. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
some noise is coming. There's some
Muted.
noise. Okay. So repositioning actually means that existing products which are already there in your, you are having these particular products in your product line and you are selling them to some market, and now you try to enter some new markets or segments. Smriti, you need to mute this participant.
Sir, actually, it's not showing. Voice is coming.
You can mute all from that options. You can mute all. Everybody can be muted.
Already everyone is mute from here. होल्डिंग कौन है? ये तो होल्ड में भी कॉल पे बिजी है। ये तो मिट्टी सरवाने
डिले से आर अब आर ये काय साइट वर्ड है साइट वर्ड एन एन जे
माइक इज ऑन यार सर मैं दिख नहीं रहा तो यहाँ पर आ जाता है नहीं तो किसका है इसमें काटना तेज से
Okay, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this repositioning actually is existing products which are targeted to new markets or segments. That means that you are having these particular products, but they were targeted to some markets, and now you are shifting to other markets. Markets basically means the customers and their customer profile. That whether these, what is the income level of these particular customers, what is the class of these particular customers. On that basis, the segmentation is carried out for the market, that we will be serving these particular markets only. For example, if I talk about the shirt manufacturing, so the shirts may range from 200 rupees to maybe 5,000 rupees. So when I'm making a particular shirt, I am not targeting to everybody in that particular huge market. So I'll have to fix up, position my product, that this is the quality of my product and this is the cost of my product, and I will be targeting to only these particular customers who are having this much level of income, and this is the class and this type of work they are doing. This is the education level of these particular people, and accordingly I'm targeting to these particular customers only. And when we want to shift to some other markets also, then we decide that this is the profile of the other levels. I may go upwards or I may go downwards for the markets. So that is what we are not serving those particular markets, and now we place these particular products in these markets also. That is repositioning. Then the product development process success will depend upon these particular things. Now, it is not the following of all these particular product development processes has been done and you will be able to be successful in the designing and development of the products, but it is the effectiveness and the efficiency of coordinating and integrating these particular steps. How well you coordinate and integrate these particular steps, that is the design, analysis, conceptualization, and integrating with the manufacturing people, so that you are able to produce these particular products at large scale at a cost-effective rate. Then it also involves a great deal of creative and imaginative efforts, which may vary from company to company or team to team, or when we are talking about a particular problem. So they will again vary from one problem to another problem. So it is not like that once the product development process has been followed properly, so you will be able to succeed. A lot of creative efforts are required, imagination is required to create those particular ideas and find out the best possible solution. Then reaching an optimum solution to design problem is not a question of putting together the most talented design team or utilizing the most reliable tools. It is often a question of resources available also. Time to market pressure also, and the knowledge capacity also. So this is what I told, that we need to find out the best compromising solution. It is not the best solution which I have to find. That is the job of the scientist. So normally when we talk about the scientist and engineer, the scientist is actually working for a particular type of problem for his scientific interest. He's not working to bring that particular product in the market. He is actually having some scientific intuition and interest in that particular area, and he's actually trying to solve that particular problem because of the curiosity. And it may take large amount of time or for finding out the best possible thing which he's actually trying, understanding the concepts and finding out the best possible solution. But as an engineer or as a developer of the product, we have all these particular limitations also. So these engineers have to work actually under these particular limitations. You have available resources availability limitation also. You have the pressure for bringing this particular product into the market within a particular time also. You have limited capacity of knowledge also in your company. So keeping all these particular things, limitations in mind, you bring out the best possible solution under those particular circumstances. Then developing a good product does not necessarily guarantee its market success. The product may be very good, it may have very good features, but at the same time, the manufacturing engineers will decide that what will be the how it will be made in larger capacities, what will be the batches, what will be the cost at which it is possible to make, and how the marketing of this particular product is actually carried out. Then only it will become a success. Then a great deal of coordination, as I told earlier, for making it success is required between the design team and the manufacturing team. There may be certain problems or limitations from the manufacturing point of view also, which should also be taken into consideration. The design team will prepare that particular design for the product in its on a paper, but it may not be actually possible to create that particular product physically, which will be done by the manufacturing team. So great amount of coordination is required, and many practical aspects which are associated with making a product can be explored, and the design limitations can be overcome when you are having this particular coordination. And a product designed on paper may face a number of obstacles during the manufacturing that can make it either very costly, or it may have the nominal features that may not be easily achievable during the manufacturing process. So this is what I told earlier also, that you may think of a product, you may try to design that I will make this particular product which will have this much of strength and durability, but actually it may not be possible. So it is the manufacturing people who will tell you that these are the limitations and we cannot physically make this particular product due to these particular limitations. Another thing which is to be taken into consideration is that we need to see that whether we are working on a product focus or the user focused product. When we are designing this particular product, whether we are focusing on the product or we are actually focusing on the users, who will be the customers. And the product normally nowadays, if we see, all the companies are working on the user-focused products. That is what we say is now the marketing of the product. And earlier it was being done in the form of the product or production concept, which was focused on the product. And in that case, the company sees some need from their point of view, and they make a product and bring it into the market. That is what was happening earlier before the Industrial Revolution, before 1930s, you can say, or in case of the product concept also. In these particular cases, the demand for these particular products were more and the supply was less. So in these particular cases, the products were made and according to the company's viewpoint, and they were brought into the market and people started purchasing them. And then came the product concept, and in that case, it was again the engineers who said that how can the public know that what kind of car they want until they see what is available. So this was the feeling earlier in the older times, when these particular products were being made by keeping in mind the product, that we have to produce this particular product as per the understanding of the engineers and the people in the company. Then came the selling concept from 1930s to 1950s, where it was said that if the consumers are left alone, they would not buy enough of our company's products. Because by that time now, more of the companies had come, all the products were being made by multiple companies and they were making them available in the market. And for that, the aggressive selling and promotion efforts were required. So it made the markets to flow with the materials. Large amount of materials were there, supply was large and the demand of the product was less. So this is the era when the product focus was there, but now the markets have now shifted to the user focus. User focus means now we try to understand the requirements of the customers. So we carry out a market research and try to understand the requirements of the customers. But this does not mean that whatever the customer is saying, that will be produced. We have to keep his viewpoint in mind and design the product according to the design intelligence and creativity of the engineers also. Okay, so if you keep only their thing in mind that these are the requirements of the customers, they should be given into the product, then it will hinder the creativity and imagination ability of the design engineers. So this is where we are dealing now with the marketing concept. So instead of the product centered, now we have shifted to the customer centered, that we try to understand the requirements of the customers, and according to that, we produce the product. So we can say that call for the industrial revolution was that manufacturers were saying, this is what I make, won't you please buy it? But now the time has changed and the customer is now asking that this is what I want, won't you please make it for me? Because this is where the markets have now shifted. So we have to understand the requirements of the customers also. That is what I told, that whatever things people are now seeing as an expectations, which they may like to have, they will become the necessity in the coming days. You will have to incorporate these particular features in the basic products in the coming days. So this is where the selling and marketing actually differ. The starting point for the selling is factory, whereas in case of marketing, we fix up the market first. We decide that, as I told in case of the shirt manufacturing, that these are the customers whom I will be targeting. They will have this much of income, this type of class, this type of education level. So I'll be dealing with only these particular customers. Okay, I'm not talking about those particular people who do not have this range of income, because if I produce a shirt of 1,000 rupees, so a daily wager or laborer will not be able to buy my product. Similarly, at the end of the top line, you can say that the people upper class, they will also not be interested in my product. So I have to focus only that particular market which I have designed, that these are the people whom I am actually working for designing these particular products. Which now the marketing concept which I told, that has now shifted to the customer concept. One step further it has gone, that is the customer concept. Customer concept is now that I will be dealing with individual customers. Marketing concept was that understanding the general requirements of the masses and producing the product according to them, keeping our creativity in picture. Okay, but customer concept is now that I will give separate offers and services to individual customers. This is where the fashion designing is. So we design the dresses for the celebrities, for example, for different occasions. So that is what the customer concept is. That particular product is not available in the market, but it is specifically designed for that particular individual customer. So the starting point here is the individual customer, and is the focus is on his needs and the values, and the marketing integration and value chains will be the means, and finally the profitable growth will be done through capturing the customer share, loyalty, and lifetime value. So this is where the markets have now shifted. And finally, we have the societal marketing concept also for the masses. The customer concept is for the individual customers, and for the masses, which we discussed as the marketing concept, that has also now changed to societal marketing concept. Societal means now that we have to take into consideration the society also. The products which we are making, whether they are in the long run interest of the society and the customers or not. For example, the kind of dyes or finishes which we are using on our textile materials, whether they will be beneficial or they will be harming the customers in the longer run, and also the environment. So that is what is now being considered. So it will have, the societal concept will have three corners where the work is to be carried out: on the society, on customers, and for the company also to earn the profits. So then, after understanding this product development and its requirements, then we move to the product design, which is the core task in the product development. And fulfilling both the functionality and styling requirements often represent the best design challenge, which I discussed initially also, that in case of the functional products, we are lacking these particular fashion features and the aesthetics, which needs to be covered. And an optimum trade-off has to be carried out between these two. And for example, I have taken one design problem. For example, the customers expect a car seat cover to last lifetime of the car with a minimum or no maintenance. This is the requirement of the customers, which people feel that this should be there. Now, this is a functional aspect that will require the fabrics to be high abrasion resistant and low UV degradation. And at the same time, the comfort is also required. If it is not comfortable, then it will be unsatisfactory perception for the entire car. So from the design point of view, achieving this particular high abrasion resistance will exclude all these particular fibers which are considered to be comfortable. Because all these comfortable fibers have the poor abrasion resistance. So we have to exclude them not to be used, because high abrasion resistance is the main requirement. And when we talk about the cost, when we consider the cost also into this particular feature, then we cannot use wool because it will become costly, although it is having high abrasion resistance and great thermal comfort also, but it cannot be considered. Only maybe in high-end cars, expensive luxury cars, you can consider them. But otherwise, in general, passenger cars, it may not be possible to consider because it will increase the cost. And when we consider the UV degradation, then in that case, acrylic fiber seems to be the best choice. But its abrasion resistance is also not good. So these are the kind of limitations and the design problems which we'll have to face. So the ultimate choice is that you have to go with the polyester fibers, which will have good abrasion resistance also and moderate UV resistance, but they may not be very comfortable. Comfortable fibers have been excluded earlier. So this is how the product development has to be taken. And this is the product design cycle, where the design planning is to be carried out. First of all, design planning will include all those particular items which are required, the material requirements and the resources required in terms of design engineers or manufacturing people, all these people, hardwares, and these various tools which are required for the analysis, all these are to be brought together. And then is the conceptualization. Conceptualization will include the generation of ideas, understanding that particular concept and giving an idea to the solution of the problem. And the design cycle will now have all these particular things. You will select the raw material, material placement or the product assembly, then design analysis will be carried out, evaluation of these particular design outcomes, and finalization of the final product model. This is what the product design cycle actually will be. And once this particular cycle has been completed, then we'll go to the initial product model, which will have the prototype. And finally, if it is satisfactory and is approved, then we can go to the manufacturing people for the mass production. Otherwise, if it is unsatisfactory, then we may go back to the design conceptualization. And it is not that this process will end here. It is an iterative process. As long as you keep on becoming unsatisfactory, you can keep on going back to the design conceptualization. Take, for example, here we generated large number of ideas. And out of those particular ideas, we selected one based on various parameters or ratings. If you feel that this particular idea has not been satisfied, now is not satisfactory here, then you can take the second idea and go through this particular process further and keep all these particular iterations running till the satisfactory product is possible. So the design conceptualization is the process of generating ideas for an optimum solution to the design problem. And in most situations, the product ideas are inspired by some needs or wants which are expressed by people. So this is what we discussed earlier also. And sometimes the need is inspired by the deficiency in an existing product. For example, inspired by some needs and wants, you can say that in present scenario, face mask is required for all masses, for general public. Earlier, the face masks were available, but they were only for the doctors and the surgeons. But now it has become a requirement for everybody. So this is a kind of need or want, which is for the general public. So this is an idea which has a concept has been generated from the need or the want of the customers. Second is that you feel that the need is inspired by the deficiency in the existing product. Already existing products are there, but you feel that there are certain deficiencies which can be worked upon to improve the performance of this product. For example, bulletproof vests are there, which are very heavy at present and they are uncomfortable to the wearers. So you can try to create a bulletproof vest which is lightweight and is comfortable for the wearers. So this is the way how the ideas can be taken. So a great deal of brainstorming is required for generating these particular ideas and to examine the merits and feasibility of these particular ideas against the physical, economical, and functional factors. And a number of key steps which should be taken before reaching the conceptualization stage is the justification, the problem definition, and the information gathering, which we can take here. The product idea is generated and you first go to the whether it is justifiable or not. What kind of customer added values it is giving, who will be the potential users, how much benefit the producers will be actually able to get, and whether it is meeting the regulations and the liabilities on the environment and the society from the country point of view. It is meeting all these particular requirements, and if you feel that it is able to add certain value for the customers and the company will also be able to benefit from them, then we can take it further. Otherwise, if it is no, then you have to terminate it. Then if you take it further, then you have to define this particular problem. Now, define the problem is you have to give a broad definition or a specific definition. Broad definition, as we took the previous example, that you have a bulletproof vest. That is a broad definition that I want to make a bulletproof vest for protecting the soldiers from the bullet injuries. But a specific definition can be, for example, a 3-layered garment construction with protective inserts that exceed the overall fabric weight by no more than 20%. So you are focusing on the weight reduction. Or second definition can be, for example, protection against 9 mm round nose bullets with nominal mass of 8 grams, impacting at a maximum velocity of 427 meters per second. So this is the specific definition that If the velocity increases more than that, maybe your product is not able to work on that. So that is what we need to fix, that these are the specifications of my product. So that will be done by the specific definitions. Then based on this, you go to the gathering the information needed to conceptualize the design, the already available patents and the products which are being made by the companies already. Collect those particular informations and also find out the credibility and accuracy of those particular informations, because they may have been published at different points of time by different people using different type of instruments. The testing has been carried out. So the credibility and accuracy of that information, statistical accuracy, all these should be examined first. Then they will be taken into consideration. So after collecting this particular information, then if you feel that the current state of the art warrant the further efforts with potential added success for this particular product design, then it should be taken further. And once it is taken further, then you enter the design conceptualization stage, where the creativity, brainstorming, decision making, and the concept optimization will be carried out. And if the answer to this after gathering this information is that answer is no, then you may terminate this particular design at this particular stage only. So these are the basic tools which are required for the design conceptualization. You have creativity, artistic creativity or technical creativity is required. Brainstorming is required, process of focusing on ideas and thoughts that can result in feasible solutions. Then decision making, after taking into consideration all these particular options available and the various factors which are important for these particular success of these ideas. Then is the concept optimization, process of determining which of the concepts should be chosen or what ideas should be implemented in the presence of many ideas which have been proposed. So here you will be eliminating all the ideas, leaving the best one, and maybe combining some ideas into one also. That can also be carried out, dividing different ideas into different models of the same product also, dividing different ideas into different products, or directing some ideas towards the cost value oriented profits. This is what will be the tools will be required for design conceptualization. And then you reach the design optimization, concept optimization approaches. That can be carried out by attribute listing. Now listing all the attributes of the product which is in question. Then another is the metric analysis can be carried out. Construct a table or a matrix using these attributes as column headings and related levels or variance as the entries. Then the morphological analysis can also be carried out. Perform the morphological analysis by selecting one entry from each column to create the various combinations. And finally, evaluate and improve the mixture to see if it has performance, economical, or market variance. And this is how the listing can be carried out in terms of the features, attributes which will be there. And based on that, you can select a particular idea which will be the best possible solution for optimizing this particular problem. Finally, we reach the design analysis, which aims to provide the best compromising solution, not the necessary.
Hello.
Okay, can you hear me? I lost connection in between.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so finally we reach the design analysis, which is a decision-making process in which the analytical tools derived from basic sciences, mathematics, statistics, and engineering fundamentals are utilized for the purpose of developing a product model that is convertible into an actual product. So this is where the conceptualization has been carried out, and after that you use certain tools to find out the best optimum solution, compromising solution under all these particular limitations. This is all about the design. So this is in general the designing which I have discussed. Certain things you can say are specific to the textiles, but otherwise it is the general process for designing any product which can be implemented anywhere. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any question from the participants?
Sir, this is Dr. Vishakha Karnad from Nirmala Niketan, Mumbai.
Yes,
really appreciate a very detailed presentation. Thank you so much, sir. I just had a query is as academicians and as researchers working in independently in organizations, when we come up with certain kinds of products and some things which are very innovative, rarely do we have full access to international standards of testing and quality parameters. So for any product, if it has to be really commercially viable, these test parameters have to be abided by. So
yeah, definitely.
how do we address these issues? Because we don't have free access to these international standards, and the fee for accessing them is really beyond the capacity of an independent researcher. So, if you can throw some light on that as to how we can go about getting information regarding international standards for product development.
So international standards, if you want to go make a product, nowadays the markets are open. From the international markets also the products are coming. So when you make a product, it has to satisfy those particular international requirements. There is no doubt on that. And as far as the testing charges and all these are concerned, that is really a matter of concern, which we also faced when we designed the face mask during this COVID period. The testing charges are huge. That is only which is possible, which can be carried. That we can create certain facilities within the educational institutions, and the government is also trying to create these particular centers of excellence in certain institutions and improving the infrastructure of the institutes so that these facilities can be created. Otherwise, this is necessary. It is really required when you want to go for the product development.
True, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for your comments.
Any other question? So there is no question in the chat box also, I think. Okay. So thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge with all of us. Hope we all have gained idea about the textile product design. I again thank you for introducing us with such a wide area and taking time to be there. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
For rest of the participants, there is an announcement. Next session will start at 2:30. So be present at 2:30 sharp. And the certificate will only be given to those participants who will mark their attendance. So so be present at the session because it's automatically generated at attendance. And anyone who is joining it with some other ID or anything, please mention the same name in the in the joining procedure, so that we can directly see who is marking the attendance. So name should be written properly. ID, you can join it with anyone, but the name you entered, it should be mentioned properly. Otherwise, there will be a problem for us also to recognize who is attending and who is not attending. Okay, thank you, and we'll meet at 2:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.